how these petrochemical byproducts are essentially in so many things in modern use in society, from cosmetics to personal care products to cleaning supplies to materials and fibers that we use in clothes and so on. I personally avoid them because the refinement process to get crude oil into a synthetic material is a very, very ugly, heinous process that involves chemical refining, which basically means you're using solvents to separate this like brown chemical slush into making something more pure and pulling it out. And the solvents are then baked off of the material. These solvents are oftentimes so harsh that humans can't even breathe it in because they are so reliably cancer causing. The petrochemical company maintains that these byproducts are safe for human consumption, for human use. Obviously, they're so apparent in our society. However, these chemicals have not been tested for long-term chronic exposure. There are trace amounts of these cancer-causing solvents in your personal care products that use petrochemicals, in your cosmetics that use petrochemicals, even possibly in your clothes. I don't think it's a coincidence that as petrochemicals have become so much more common in our society after World War II, so have the levels of cancer in our society and the levels of autoimmune disease. And the thing about that is, because the petroleum is so tightly linked in our government, there is never going to be a day that the petroleum company or the government comes out and says these chemicals are dangerous for humans. They're going to say, oh, we're studying it. That's what they've done in the past with things like talc in baby powder and in other very, very heinous cancer-causing ingredients. With my environmental engineering background, I just genuinely choose and prefer to limit my exposure to recently synthesized chemicals because in the chemical industry, no chemical is properly tested for long-term exposure in the way that people are chronically using products, using them for multiple years at a time. And so yeah, I prefer plant-derived products. I will say though, it is a challenge to find things like shampoos, things like leave-in conditioners, things like detergents for clothes. Even finding just all cotton clothes has become so difficult. Yeah, so I'm not saying it's easy, but for me, that's my personal decision. That's the reasoning that I have behind it.